What's up, anime enthusiasts, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we'll be looking at the top 10 anime romance scenes. We all have different tastes in anime. Some of us are in for it for the real battles, while others tend to enjoy the psychology and development of the characters in a more solemn way. However, we can all agree that romance and confession of love is an aspect that everyone enjoys, unless you're some awkward degenerate, then chances are you don't even exist. Even if the genre isn't romance itself, we see a special kind of personal interaction between characters, and go like, God has created these two for each other. It's prevalent for people to come up with different ships, even if the author always had other plans in the future. Then we curse the author and give the anime least possible rating on MAL, because what matters most is our ships. If that didn't go as planned, the other objective factor, like character development and plot progression, can go to hell. That out of the way, here are my top 10 list of cutest kisses and confessions in anime, in no particular order. Number 1, we have 𝐜𝐡𝐚 can't study. First on my list is when 𝐜𝐡𝐚 confesses to Takumi. 𝐜𝐡𝐚 is a high school student whose father is an established erotic fiction writer. Because of that, she ends up picking up on some bad vocabulary when she was young, and after using it, she gets taunted by her peers. To make things worse, her father loves to intervene with her romantic life, and tries giving her fatherly advice, but as an erotic writer. I mean, like, anyone in their right mind wouldn't want, of all people, help from an erotic writer. All this girl wants is to get away from her father, but the problem is that because of these events, she ends up developing a sense of resentment for her romantic life. She would instantly turn down any boy who would want to talk to her as a friend, and ultimately became a loner. Yikes. She ends up developing feelings for a boy named Takumi, but since she thinks bad of anything related to romance, because of her past, she ends up becoming a tsundere. She lives in constant denial. She craves the love of Takumi, but her consciousness tells her to neglect him because of her past trauma. But in the final episode, she finally gives in to her feelings, and suddenly kisses Takumi, apologizing immediately after because of the sheer guilt she felt. Takumi, having no problem because she was gorgeous and he loved 𝐜𝐴, as well, confesses his emotions and tells her that there's no need to apologize, making the end a very satisfying one. Next up on my list is when Kanata confesses to Mashiro. While it's not a show that stands out and sets a bar in the romance genre, it certainly is a breath of fresh air from the general rom-com cliches. In this story, Kanata is forced to transfer to the Sakura dorm for keeping a stray cat, a dorm designed to individuals who are hard to control. There he met Mashiro, a world-renowned artist, but she was in the dorm, meaning as marvelous as she was quite absent-minded and didn't know how to perform day-to-day tasks on her own, which forces Kanata to become her handler. The fact that she is absent-minded is why their interactions become very cute, with a romance flavor that develops alongside the show. She would often say stuff like, "You're a jerk," for no reason to Kanata, or just eating things from the store without paying for them, causing huge problems for Kanata as her caretaker. But alongside taking care of her, somewhere along the line, Kanata fell in love with Mashiro, and would often worry about her when she wasn't being found, almost like a mother. That wasn't that cute. When he finally confessed his love to her, and asked her to close her eyes so that he could kiss her, that was a heartwarming thing to watch. Or rather, it would be if it wasn't interrupted with his stray cat. Still, being the mysterious girl she was, she kissed Kanata on the cheek and ran off. It was a cute moment in a way because Mashiro was a character who was extraordinarily asocial, and hadn't learned to process emotions like love and happiness properly. This scene showed how far she had grown, and also elaborated that she had things to learn. This unique aspect about the show makes it easily worthy of my top 10 romance scenes in anime.
爵位を捨てることに迷いはなかった。君は俺にとって大切な人だから。それが俺の伝えたかったことだよ。
はい。
Next up on my list is Grand Crest Senki. In the world of Grand Crest Senki, an unique individual known as the Lord possessed a magical artifact known as the Crest. With it, he could control the chaos of the world and prevent a number of demons entering the world, thereby restoring peace. But now the downside to having peace was that humans divided into Fantasia, Union, and the Factory Alliance. The crest started being used as an instrument of a power struggle by the nations. A great quote from Gendo Ikari from Evangelion is, "Mankind's greatest fear is mankind." Now before I get sidetracked, let's go back to the topic. And amidst all these struggles, the main protagonist Theo has a strong sense of justice, having a goal to revive the peace in the world. He rescues 𝐒𝐿𝐴, a mage, from a group of hostile soldiers. 𝐒𝐿𝐴, impressed by Theo's strong sense of justice, pledges her loyalty to him and devotes herself entirely to his goals. Then, as they go through various hardships on their journey, Theo eventually falls in love with 𝐒𝐿𝐴 because of her sheer loyalty, commitment, and character. He finally expresses how he feels to her when they are taking shelter from the rain in a cave. Usually when it comes to romance, the girl is the tsundere. However, in Grand Senki, that's not the case. Ironically, in this case, the girl is the dense one who has a hard time being empathetic towards the blindly visible sign Theo was showing, making that proposal unique and eye-pleasing for the audience to watch. As 𝐒𝐿𝐴 was taken aback by the proposal, but didn't burst out exaggeratedly as you typically see when a girl is proposed to in an anime, giving the scene a position in my top 10 most romantic anime scenes.
𝐿𝐴どうしたんですか？
ああ、温泉上がりで少し涼もうかと思って。シシリーは？
私も温泉でほてっちゃって。
そっか。
Next up, do you believe in love at first sight? Well, the author of 𝐒𝐻ℐ 𝐵𝐭 certainly does. In the anime, Shin dies in an accident, only to be reborn in a world of magic and demons, where he learns how to use magic from Merlin. 𝐷𝐶𝐿𝐴, king of 𝐼𝐻ℨ Kingdom, recommends Shin to join his academy to improve his magic. Upon arriving at the capital, he saved 2 girls from a group of bandits. One of them was severely cute and adorable, 𝐒𝐿𝐴. Upon his first glance at her, he couldn't help but yell out the words, "You're beyond cute!" 𝐒𝐿𝐴 was standing there looking at Shin and how handsome he is. She didn't yell anything, but that's because she's a timid girl, an attribute that makes her character even more appealing and cute. Their feelings for each other was mutual since episode 1. However, both of them couldn't express themselves, and were too scared to confess their feelings to each other. Now, isn't that something we can all relate to? And if you can't, you probably don't exist either. Finally, when Shin mustered up the strength to propose to her, it was a heartwarming moment. They both accepted each other, and just when they were about to kiss, they were interrupted by a large number of friends who were peeking, making the scene both romantic and funny. This scene is a mixture of love and humor, and is the reason why this scene enlists my top 10 anime romantic scenes.
寒いし、もう一度。もう一度。
Next up on my list is Toradora. Sometimes people fall in love at first sight, while others gradually increase their affection for each other over time. In this case, the latter occurred. When Taiga and Ryuji first met, they didn't see anything unique in one another. In fact, Taiga had a crush on Yusaka, and Ryuji had affection towards Minori. They both decided to help each other out by setting up each other with their crushes, and in pursuit of doing so, they started to spend a lot of time with each other, and their love began to blossom. Then one night on a bridge, Taiga tells how their father abandoned him, and how she has nowhere to go. Ryuji empathizes with her condition, replying how he never felt like he belonged anywhere, and always felt like he was a burden to people around him. His response infuriated Taiga because she thought of him as an essential part of her life, and like a typical tsundere, she started to punch and threw him off the bridge to express how he belongs with her. Tsunderes, man, you gotta love them. After falling down the bridge into the water, our protagonist finally decided to propose to Taiga, which she accepts by jumping at him from the deck. What's beautiful about this scene is how they didn't have anyone but each other. As Jiraiya from Naruto once said, "Home is where someone is thinking about you." It's beautiful how they both gave each other love, affection, and a place where both of them can belong.
あなたの彼女はそういう女よ。こんな素敵な人が私の彼氏。わにゃわにゃ、わにゃわにゃ。
Next up we have Orashura. Usually, an ideal proposal happens in the solitude of the night between a guy and a girl. However, Orashura's ending brings something different to the table, as Kido proposes to Natsukawa in public. Yeah, you heard that right. This setup is very consistent with one of the themes the anime discusses, which we'll get into later. Kido represents romance because of his parents' failed marriage, and so does Natsukawa, because of all the attention she gets since she has a beautiful body and a gorgeous face. To get rid of all the proposals she receives every day, she blackmails Kido into pretending to be her boyfriend, threatening to expose his notebook from middle school, filled with sticky notes and scribbles. Kido hates people like her, who only have their looks writing for them, with their personality being mediocre at best. However, in pursuit of pretending to be Kido's boyfriend, Natsukawa falls in love with him and realizes how genuine of a person he is. She feels guilty about faking a relationship with him. This guilt makes her feel sorry that they can never be together, and announces that she has broken up with him on a stage in the middle of a competition. He then realizes that she is a changed person now, and she'll become a genuine person by expressing her fake self in the open, so he shouts, "I love you," in front of the whole crowd. True love is simply the acceptance of a flaw as it is. It's truly beautiful how this proposal scene reflected upon how much both these characters had developed, while enlightening the audience with such a beautiful theme. This easily gives the scene a well-deserved spot on my list.
皆川さん、少しは手伝ってよ。
だってめんどくさいもの。
じゃあなんで学級委員になったの？
古谷くんのことが好きだからよ。
Next up is the scene where Akagi proposes to 𝐒𝐽𝐲𝐸 from the 𝐒𝐮𝐩𝐸𝐨𝐫𝐭 children. Kaji and Akagi first met when Akagi caught Kaji smoking. In return for not exposing her, Akagi asked for a kiss, saying that he would better understand why people crave to be in a relationship if he kissed someone. This unique approach cast a spell over Kaji, and she couldn't help but feel attracted to him, even though, like a typical tsundere, she never missed that fact. After kissing him, Akagi tells her that he's willing to be her boyfriend if Kaji quits smoking. She doesn't reply anything because she's too shy, and begins to quit smoking because she was also interested in Akagi. However, there is one question on Kaji's mind, and it's that maybe Akagi doesn't like them for who they are. Perhaps he wants her because she has a cute face and great boobs. For all she knows, he doesn't desire her personality at all, since he has such a bad one. So while they're studying together, Kaji expresses her concern about their relationship. To which Akagi replies yes, he likes her face and her boobs, and personality sucks. But then later mentions how he loves her because she is short-tempered and crass. There may be real flaws in her personality, but that's why he likes her. And then of course in this scene they kiss, but I won't tell you about it, so you guys should go watch it yourself.
俺の夢のため、子供たちの夢のため、俺はリアス・グレモリーが大好きだ。
Next up, we have High School DxD. No surprise that this anime made it onto the list, and it certainly needs no introduction, but I will do it anyway. Issei is a high school student who is exceptionally perverted and gets the chance to date a hot girl who is revealed to be a fallen angel and tries to shank him and kill him. A crimson-haired girl named Rias Gremory saves him, who later is revealed to be a devil. Later on, they start to have a little bit of a history. The thing is about this scene is that it was very clear to both Rias and Issei that they loved each other. And amidst the battle and everything that they had been through, they stuck to each other's side, like only two lovers would. But a clear proposal the audience had never seen from Issei, and they sure as hell were craving it. So, when he finally popped the question to Rias for the first time, even though her reply was predictable by the audience, it certainly was very wholesome, and something they had been craving for a long time. The High School DxD fandom can die in peace.
私、あなたのことを愛してる。誰よりもずっとあなたのことを。
お前にぶつける。
Next up we have Kishuku Gaku no Juliet. Usually the execution of a proposal scene in anime occurs either in the end or midway of the show. However, in Boarding School Juliet, it happens right off the bat, in the very first episode. Yes, you heard that right, the very first episode, which is a breath of fresh air and a pleasant surprise for the audience. This anime takes place at Dahlia Academy Boarding School, where students come from two rivaling countries, known as the Nation of Tuwa and the Principality of the West. The students are assigned their dormitories based on their nationality. Black Dogs houses for those from Tuwa, and the White Cats accommodates those from the West. Romeo is the leader of the Black Dogs dormitory, and Juliet is the leader of the White Cats. Although on the surface, Romeo maintains the impression that he resents Juliet, since the two dorms have always been enemies. In reality, he has always admired her self-esteem. Despite being a girl, she could outperform nearly all the boys in combat. Then one day, Juliet decides to challenge him to a one-on-one duel to settle the score once and for all. During the battle, she expressed how much she hated him for looking down on her and holding her back whenever they fought, which came as a shock to Romeo. Romeo only held back because he loved her and greatly admired her self-esteem and abilities. While exchanging blows in a duel, he finally expressed how he loves her and never looked down on her. The only reason he held back was that he loved her, and that was true ever since he was a kid. This scene is incredibly beautiful because it finally broke the colossal misunderstanding that was between the characters. This scene also keeps a slight amount of adrenaline rush in the viewer's eyes, as the whole proposal happens while they're in a one-on-one duel with swords just because they were from different dorms. They decide to become lovers in disguise, with their relationship and condition being an inspiration from the true love story of Romeo and Juliet. Next up is a proposal scene from 𝐜𝐴 shitai. Yuta is a character that suffers from the term middle two diseases, or in other words, middle school second year syndrome, typically used to describe kids who desperately want to stand out and have convinced themselves that they have hidden knowledge or secret powers. Rika also suffers the same condition. That is why, anyone would tell, these two are meant for each other on their introduction. The setup of this confession was perfect. Two lovers strolling along with each other on a beautiful night illuminated by the light-filled city view with just the right amount of rain as the cherry on top. Rika proposes to Yuta. As someone suffering from this middle two diseases, they accept the proposal in a cringeworthy yet wholesome fashion by narrating, "You engulfed by the flames of darkness, be joined with the dark flame master by the contract of lovers," without looking into her eyes, cause he's shy, about accepting the proposal, even though he wholeheartedly wanted to. Isn't that cute? Well folks, that concludes our list of the top 10 anime romance scenes. Press the thumbs up button if you enjoyed the video, and if you haven't, then stop acting like a tsundere and smash that like button. Make sure to subscribe and press the bell icon for more future videos like this one. See you later.